In this lesson, we'll learn how to open, close, and save a file. After completing this lesson, you'll be able to upload a file to the data panel, open an F3D file, and save a version. In Fusion 360, I have my data panel open, and I've navigated to my Intro to ME and MFG project and inside of our Foundational Concepts folder. From here, we're going to upload a design from our local PC. We can do this in a few different ways. We can go to the File drop-down, and we can select Open. Open will automatically allow us to navigate to a location either on the cloud, so these are all of my projects that are inside of my data panel, or open from my computer. This option allows us to open a design, and then we'll have to save it to our data panel. The other option that we have while we're inside of Fusion 360, we can select the Upload option in the data panel. We can either select files on our machine, or we can drag and drop them if they're accessible on another screen. Also note the location is Intro to ME and MFG and Foundational Concepts. This is the location we were at when we selected Upload, but you can also change it if you need. We're going to go to Select Files and navigate to the location of the downloaded datasets on our machine. Once we've found the location of our datasets, we're going to select the Utility Knife -Upload. Notice that there's an F3D icon next to it. It tells us that this is an Autodesk Fusion 360 file. An F3D file is an archive file that's been exported from Fusion. Also note that we have a Utility Knife import that we'll take a look at later. This is a .step file. This is a different type of file and will need to be converted when it's brought into Fusion 360. Once we have the Utility Knife upload file selected and we select Open, we're still not done. This brings us back to the Upload dialog box, where we can add more files, or we can simply select Upload. Once we select Upload, a Job Status dialog box will appear. It'll tell us the status of the upload, and this can also be seen in the bottom of the data panel. The Job Status will show us the status of Generative Design Solves, Simulations, and even renderings. Right now we have the Data option and it says Complete. To get back to this, you can always go to the clock icon, which is Job Status in the upper right hand corner, and select Job Status. Again, we can close this, and notice that in the data panel we now have a file. This file, or design, currently does not show any preview of the image because it hasn't been uploaded and opened. Once we double click on it, this will open the design inside of Fusion 360, and we'll be able to see it in the canvas area. Then you'll notice that the opacity of the design in the data panel changes. Once we save it, it'll save a detailed image that can be seen later. For right now, let's go ahead and hide the data panel. This design is made up of components, which again, we'll try to understand a little bit later, but for right now, just identify that there are various things such as the blade cradle, the blade, grips, and the left and right housings. Each of these are components of an assembly, and they have joints applied to them that allow us to have motion. You can see here that the blade can slide in and out. What we want to do is select the blade, slide it in, and then we're going to use this Capture Position option that's displayed in our toolbar. Capturing the position now requires us to save the file. At the top you can see that Upload has a V1 or version 1 after it and an asterisk. This tells us that the file has not been saved. Once we select Save, we're asked to enter a version description, and we can even create a milestone. I'm going to change the user save description to Blade Retracted. While we haven't made any design changes, we have made an adjustment to the file, which does allow us to save it. Now you can see the asterisk is gone, and underneath it, it tells us that we have a version 2. If we expand the data panel, you can see that version 2 is displayed in the bottom right hand corner, and now that the file has been saved, you can see a preview of the image. If we use this drop down, you'll notice that version 1 imported from Utility Knife -Upload, and version 2, you can see our comment Blade Retracted. The great thing about Fusion 360 with these complex designs is that anytime we save it, a new version is created and we can go back to it at any point in time. It also tells us whether it's used in other files, if it uses any other designs, or whether it contains a drawing reference. Right now under History, I'm going to go down to the original, going to select the three-dot icon and then select Open. Also note that we have a Promote option and we have a Create Milestone option. If I select Open, this will allow me to open that version of the design in a read-only state. I can compare the two. Notice that the blade is out in version 1 and the blade is retracted in version 2. We also have the option to Save As, but notice that we can't save this design because it's read-only and it's an older version. Notice that it also tells us that a newer version of this document exists. So if we want to either promote this to be the most current, we can use that option, or if we want to save it as a potential different design, we can go to our File drop-down and select Save As. We'll need to give it a new name, and I'm going to call this Upload Original. Going to select Save, and it's no longer a read-only file. Now I have two files, Utility Knife Upload Original and the Utility Knife Upload. This is not the standard workflow, but we want to make sure that we understand all these various options for different versions, saving as, and even exporting. From here, we can also go to our File drop-down and we can select Export. This will allow us to export a Fusion Archive file as well as many other file types, such as an Inventor part or an assembly file, DWG, DXF, or even things like OBJ. We can use those and export them to a location on our machine. These will not be exported to a location inside of our data panel. I'm going to select Cancel. And also note that inside of our design in what's called the browser, we can right-click and notice that we have several options here as well. Export, Save Copy As, and even a Save As STL. So if we're looking to do things like create a 3D print file, we can save this as an STL. If we're looking to create a copy, we can use Save Copy As, or we can export directly from here. Right now, that's as far as we're going to go with the original file, so let's go ahead and close the original Save As version and minimize our data panel. We're going to leave the Utility Knife Upload version open as we'll continue to work with it.